Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Spirits of Massachusetts. In today's episode, we will be talking about the history and hauntings of the Bridgewater Triangle. The Bridgewater Triangle is an area south of Boston that encompasses many towns and cities, such as Seekonk, Groton, Taunton, and of course, Bridgewater. In this area, residents and visitors have reported supernatural and even occasionally extraterrestrial sightings, including the Dover Demon, which I covered in the first episode of this series. The term was coined by Loren Coleman in his book Mysterious America, in which he describes the odd occurrences in this particular area of Massachusetts. Since there's so much ground to cover when it comes to ghost stories in this area, I'll just briefly touch upon my favorite stories of the area. Starting off, we have the infamous Freetown State Forest, the scene of many different gruesome crimes and odd occurrences. The Wampanoag tribe of Massachusetts had believed the forest to be haunted for many years before English settlers set foot in America. The grounds were considered sacred, and it's believed that when Wampanoag chief Wamsutta sold the land to settlers, the land was officially cursed by the tribe, opposed to surrendering this sacred land. Specifically, the granite of Assonet Ledge is believed to be haunted, as silhouettes of people jumping off of it can be seen, but they never hit the ground. The most well-known legend involving these spirits is the Lady of the Ledge, believed to be the ghost of a Native American woman looking for her husband. The Freetown State Forest is also a hotspot for crime and gruesome murder. In the late 70s, a handful of prostitutes were found with their skulls caved in and tied to trees. A witness named Karen Marsden was questioned for these crimes, but she refused to say who the murderer was for fear that Satan would kill her. In April of 1980, parts of Marsden's skull were found in the forest. Her full body has never been recovered. Carl Drew, a pimp and supposed leader of a satanic cult, and Robin Murphy, Karen Marsden's girlfriend, were arrested for Marsden's murder. Carl Drew has maintained his innocence, and Robin Murphy has claimed that she fabricated the satanic cult story, but these murders still stain the history of this forest. Next, we have Hockomock Swamp in West Bridgewater. Hockomock is an Algonquin word that means place where the spirits dwell, and is a sacred burial ground and was a prime location for hunting game for the tribe. Hockomock Swamp was believed to be the dwelling place of Hockomock, the chief deity of death and disease in Algonquin folklore. He's respected and feared amongst the Wampanoag tribe and is known to dwell in areas similar to the Hockomock Swamp. The swamp has had a long history of odd and supernatural occurrences, such as 9,000-year-old human artifacts being discovered, ghosts of Native Americans canoeing on the water, and Bigfoot-esque creatures found trekking through the trees. UFO sightings are also rampant in the area, dating as far back as the early 1900s, when two undertakers saw what they believed to be a giant floating lantern flying over the swamp. Going down to Rehoboth, we get the chilling story of Anawan Rock. In August of 1676, towards the end of King Philip's War, the last of the Wampanoag soldiers took their last stand at this rock. Anawan, the de facto chief following King Philip's passing, retreated to the swampy area for tactical purposes and for additional protection from Hobbomocks. Ultimately, the British soldiers came out victorious and Anawan surrendered. He was beheaded, and his head was stuck on a pole outside of Plymouth for years afterwards. Visitors of the area commonly sight shadow figures walking past them and voices shouting "Lutash," meaning stand and fight in Algonquin. Rotten smells and phantom campfires are also very common reports in this area and are usually linked to the tragic war that ended nearly 350 years ago. Next, I'd like to talk about the Mad Trucker, hailing from Assonet. Down on Coppercut Road, urban legends tell of a phantom trucker who blows his horn at drivers to get them to pull over. Once drivers do pull over, they claim that the truck simply vanishes. While there isn't any credible evidence of the Mad Trucker's existence, nor have there been any recent reports of him, it's interesting to note that the sightings that have been reported are relegated only to Coppercut Road. Similarly, the Dover Demon was also famously relegated to a finite area of Massachusetts. While I don't see any correlation between the Dover Demon and Mad Trucker, I feel they both show that nearly every nook and cranny of this state has some sort of paranormal story to offer. Finally, I'd like to take a look at Taunton State Hospital, a former insane asylum with a twisted past. The story of Taunton State is not unlike that of Danvers State, with rumors of satanic cults running the hospital, conducting human sacrifices in the basement, and utilizing brutal torture methods under the guise of medical practice. The building itself followed a Kirkbride design, maximizing exposure to sunlight and air circulation. Lizzie Borden was falsely thought to be held at this hospital for a time, but she was actually held in the police station next door. Instead, Taunton State Hospital had Jane Taunton, who had murdered 31 individuals, including her foster sister, through poisoning them. She's described as an angel of death, since she would often poison her victims while nursing at Cambridge Hospital. She confessed to these murders in 1902 and would be sent to stay at Taunton State Hospital until her death in 1938. The asylum portion of the hospital closed in 1975, but some offices and the nearby Mayflower Cemetery remain open to this day. While Salem is far and away the most popular spot for paranormal and spiritual activity in Massachusetts, it's clear that the Bridgewater Triangle is the most abundant. Some of the topics I've covered on this short series tie back in some way to this area of Massachusetts. Lizzie Borden's house in Fall River falls within this stretch of land, and the Taunton State Hospital has a similar structure and story to Danvers State Asylum. Creatures, ghosts, UFOs, and other anomalies are spotted more here than anywhere else in Massachusetts, and there are a plethora of books on these subjects. If you're able to, I highly recommend checking out some of the landmarks I've mentioned, if not for the paranormal stories, then for the rich and important history. That's all I've got for today. What do you think? Is the Bridgewater Triangle the most supernatural spot in Massachusetts? Maybe the most supernatural spot in America? That's for you to decide. I'm Cody Mason, and this has been Spirits of Massachusetts.